Right now, there are over 12,000 nuclear warheads sitting on this planet. Now imagine something with me. What if every single one exploded at the exact same second? Not a war, not a warning, just all of them. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at the sky the same way again. The first second is almost impossible to comprehend. More than 2,000 major cities flash white. Not orange, not red, white, brighter than staring directly at the sun. If you're looking toward the explosion, you go blind before your brain even realizes what happened. And the people closest, they never feel pain. They're simply erased, gone before their nervous system has time to react. But here's something far more disturbing. The people slightly farther away are the ones who suffer the most. Now you might think, so Earth explodes too, right? Surprisingly, no. But surviving the flash doesn't mean you're safe. A few seconds later, the blast wave arrives. Buildings collapse like they're made of paper. Cars are thrown through the air. Windows explode for miles. Even people who escaped the heat can be killed instantly by the pressure alone. The planet itself survives. Human civilization probably doesn't. Within minutes, every continent is burning. Entire cities ignite at once. Those fires become something called firestorms. Not normal fires. Firestorms create their own weather. They pull oxygen inward with hurricane-force winds. Everything becomes fuel. Cars, forests, buildings, oil refineries. Entire cities turn into gigantic furnaces. And then, the world suddenly goes silent. Power grids fail. Cell towers stop responding. GPS disappears. The internet collapses. For billions of people, the modern world ends before the smoke even clears. But here's where things become truly terrifying. Because the explosions aren't actually the biggest problem. What comes next is, scientists call it nuclear winter. Millions of tons of black soot rise above the clouds into the stratosphere. And unlike normal smoke, it can't rain back down. It circles the planet for years, blocking sunlight before it ever reaches Earth. And here's something almost nobody realizes. Countries that weren't even bombed could lose more people than countries that were, because they won't die from explosions, they'll die from something much slower. Without sunlight, global temperatures crash. Not by 2 degrees, not by 5. Some climate models predict drops of 10, 20, even 30 degrees Celsius. Summer disappears. Growing seasons collapse. Harvests fail across the entire planet. Your country might survive the bombs, only to run out of food months later. Imagine a child asking, "When is summer coming back?" Nobody has an answer. So what about the oceans? Surely they save us. Well, yes and no. Water slows temperature changes. Coastal regions survive longer. But sunlight disappearing creates another disaster. Plankton, the tiny organisms producing much of Earth's oxygen, begin dying. And when plankton collapse, the entire marine food chain follows. The ocean survives. It just slowly starves. Everything is connected. That's what makes this scenario so horrifying. It isn't really about the explosions. It's about everything that happens. Now let's talk radiation, because Hollywood gets this completely wrong. People imagine glowing wastelands forever. Reality is stranger. The deadliest radiation fades incredibly fast. Within 2 weeks, radiation levels in many fallout zones drop dramatically. The real killer isn't radiation. It's contaminated food, poisoned water, destroyed agriculture, and years of famine. Hours later, dark ash begins falling from the sky. It looks almost peaceful until you realize every tiny particle carries radioactive fallout. The air becomes dangerous. The water becomes dangerous. Even stepping outside could become a death sentence. So, could humanity actually survive? Surprisingly, yes. Small groups, mostly in parts of the southern hemisphere, could survive. Fishing, stored food, underground shelters. Humanity probably wouldn't disappear, but civilization almost certainly would. And honestly, that might be even scarier than extinction. Here's the strangest part of all. Scientists didn't invent this scenario to entertain people. They've been studying it since the 1980s. Real climate models, real atmospheric simulations, real governments. The fear of this exact outcome helped shape nuclear policy. Mutually assured destruction was terrifying enough that it may have prevented it from ever happening. Imagine that, a catastrophe so horrifying that simply believing it could happen may have saved the world. So let me ask you something. If you knew this could actually happen, would you look at the world differently? Leave your thoughts below. I read every single comment, and some of my favorite video ideas come directly from you. If you enjoy exploring impossible questions like this, subscribe, because every week we ask another one. At the end of the day, this isn't really a story about bombs. It's a story about how fragile civilization truly is. And maybe the best thing about this entire scenario is that today, it's still just a thought experiment. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.